right, polynomials that cannot be factored are just said to be factored completely. Yeah, that's redundant, but I think on the assignment it'll say, it'll give you two choices like, hey, write the factored form, or is it not factorable? And if I was you, I would just try the first one out, the second one just to see if it is, and then skip it, but don't, because I shouldn't say that out loud. When the leading coefficient is a negative number, like I've said before, if we see the leading coefficient is a negative, then we generally factor that out as a negative, but it does change the signs of all the other terms that are left over, so we will. So factoring by grouping, usually these will have 4 terms, and then we'll group them 2 terms at a time, like the first 2 and then the second 2. And then from that, we will factor out a binomial from the, I'm going to call it a coefficient, but that may not be correct. Often in order to identify a common binomial factor, we must regroup into 2 groups of 2 terms each. So again, that'd be 4 terms total. If you see 4 terms, generally that means that you're going to be factoring by grouping. Now, you'll see it too, where you'll be like, can't I just combine the like terms? Which you could, but we haven't looked at factoring trinomials yet. So we're looking at factoring out 4-term polynomials. There we go. All right. Now I'm gonna do one side by side with this. Let's do it like this. Okay. So if you were to see, we'll do it like this. 3. I don't want to use the same number. Let me take that back. Let's try something else. 4x y minus 8x, right?
What are you doing?
No, I need the y on this one. Okay, so from this, I just want to focus on the y's right here, right? So you see the y's right there. You can yank out a y from each of these. I know it's not fully factored, but then you'd have 4x minus 8 right there. That's by factoring out just the y. It doesn't matter if this is a binomial right here. You can factor it out. Okay, how can we factor it out? Because this is a factor right here, and so is this one. Factor are values that are being multiplied together. So this is a factor of 3x. This is a factor of negative 3. So what I'm going to do, because this is usually we'd be looking at something like this after factoring from the grouping, right? Because this only has 2 terms right here. Usually you'd have 4 terms, and then usually you would have started with the 3x. Well, I guess it would have been 18x squared plus 21xy minus 18x minus 21y. Okay, that's usually what you'd start with, and then you'd factor out from the first 2 terms of 3x and then a negative 3. They've done some of that work for us just so we know what to expect, because we're going to see that in the next problem. But right here, just what I have, I can take this expression just like we did before, right? And I can factor out. Oh, dang it! If I had a little bit more space, I can factor out from those 2 a 6x plus 7y. Well, what's left over? Well, from the first term, you got a 3x, and then from the second term, you got a negative 3. That is all.
Is this what you recommend we do?
That's what we will do. That's what we will do. Now, I was trying to relate it with this.
That wasn't working out very well.
Yeah, sorry about that. My bad. I'm going to. Here we go. I heard a sigh right there. Yeah, but and I should have mentioned this, because you should always check these 2 binomials. You should always check whatever you have factored out just to make sure that there's no more factoring involved. Like this 6x plus 7y. All right, I mean, that's fine. It's nothing there that we can't factor out an x, and we can't factor out a 6, a 7, a 2, or a 3 from any of that stuff. So it just stays the same. But the parentheses there, the 3x minus 3, yeah, these both have 3's right there. Not x's, of course, but you could if you probably should factor out a 3 right there. And then what are you left with? Well, you got the x, and then you got the 3 divided, it's really negative 3 divided by 3, which is negative 1. And now we would call this fully factored. Yeah, so yeah, just want to put this in the video. Yeah, if you put the 3 in the front, it's the same thing.